Blue skies, it's Sunday, it's cracking weather, it's pretty still. It sounds windy in the yard because I'm by the building, but we're going to get some fertilizer spread. Just a day of actual farming today, so I'm just fishing it out the back of the shed. That's why we have a 3-section boom telehandler, because you can reach over the other bags. This is what happens when you forget to bounce the bags. Lumps are coming out of the bags. Been looking for that coat for weeks because it had me battery pack in it. That's like, I can't find it anywhere, and I left it in the back of the tractor. I think it must have been last Sunday, was it, when I was spreading fertilizer. On this field of wheat now, this is the one where we had the problem with the drill. You'll see a line over there somewhere. We'll stop in a bit and have a proper look. Anyway, there's a little bit of a wet hole here where it's hollow, and same over there where it's sprayed when it's a bit wet. I'm putting a little bit extra fertilizer on this in the hope that it will start tillering a bit wider, so although it's thin, it'll start to bush out and then match the rest of the crop. So we'll see what it looks like in a few weeks' time. So this is where the drill was set right, and this is where the headland was done with the drill set wrong. So you can see a perfect line there of how it's just not took, if you will. The slugs have eaten it, the pigeons have eaten it, the seeds rotted because it might have come wet before it germinated. So it's quite thin. Well, it's very thin here. Hopefully it'll tiller a little bit anyway, but we're not going to get much yield off this bit really. It's a balance between putting no inputs on it or putting extra inputs to try and get it to tiller. So for the first dose of fertilizer, I'll put twice the amount on, see if that helps. If it doesn't help, then we'll draw a line underneath it and then we'll stop inputs on it, so that we try and make a little bit of a profit on this acreage. So you can see now this line here, this is where I walked into the field and realised that they had the drill set wrong, and I was like, whoa, stop. So we reset the drill up, and then this was the first pass of it with the drill set correctly. As you can see, there's a massive difference in how it's established, like huge difference. I'll jump out actually to show you a bit closer. So this barely took at all. There's just the odd plant, some quite bare patches at all, and then here, the next pass with the drill set correctly, it's just a totally different story. You know, there must be 95% more plants, but it was sown within 10 minutes of itself. Not even 10 minutes, sort of 3 minutes the time it took to put the pressure back on the drill and turn around. So you can see perfectly like how sparse it is. We have even tried to stitch a little bit of wheat into this. It did come very wet afterwards, but there's a bit of the stuff we stitched in, some small bits here. So a field with a tale of two halves. Expensive lesson learnt as well. Pretty pleased with this now over here though. It's just quite consistent. Drop the rate back down as well, just putting 75 kilos on, just to push it on a little bit, little and often this year with it being so expensive. This is another field where the drill wasn't set correctly. I think it was the second one that was drilled. It's obviously not wintered very well. Quite a big wet patch here, and we probably need to get another main drain heading over to that corner. When we first got the draining machine, we put a drain in here, and I don't think it's big enough to cope. Well, it's not. We know it's not, and it needs a bit of time spending really. We should have perhaps spring cropped this and put it in. We did spring crop it last year with beans, and that was the plan to sort of re-drain it then. But we had other areas that were more important to drain. But this is quite bad. I've already spread this bit. I'm just driving back now because I'd finished in the wrong corner of the field. But I did just notice where we put the drain through when we first got the drainer, we hit a main drain, and I think it's the connection on it started to wash. So there's a hole appeared. Here it is here now. So we'll jump off and have a quick look. Just in neutral, which is a bit of a faff on this tractor. It used to be easy to find. Yeah, so there's an old clay drain there, and then I think our plastic one come past it, and we damaged it, but it's flowing pretty well. Let's see, we're gonna have to dig down to that and repair it and see what's going on. And then really it needs another one going higher up the hill there to catch all that water that we've just driven through. Another day, another fly tip. Little mattress this time. Bought this field coming up 10 years ago this summer. Put some nice new gates on it. Someone crashed into them and just sort of destroyed it. Then it wouldn't open properly. Then it got hooked around the header trailer last year. Bent it a bit more. Someone's hit that one. That's bent that way. And I've just hurt me back, shutting them. I'm gonna have to get 2 new gates for it. Just looks a mess. On the other hand though, the sky's blue and the spreader's staying pretty clean today. And the tractor. It would be nice to spread some fertiliser on this one, but having still got 4 acres underwater, there's not a lot of point. And when that 4 acres of water's probably gone, it's probably going to be dead anyway. I think it's got some ducks on it. Yep. It's not rained for about 3 or 4 days either. Quick birthday bumper. Not many on it at all today, which is pretty good. I can read them all out. Jack, Digger Harold, Taryn Lee and Mike Hale, happy birthday. Quick update on the chipper. The pile's getting quite big and we could really do with getting it working properly. There's a sensor, we think, on either side of the DPF filter. DPF filter. So we're hoping that it's one of them that's acting up, and if we change that, it should start to like run better. If not, we've got to put a new DPF on, and they're about 4,000 quid. So we're going to try the cheap sensor first to see if that solves the problem. Otherwise, we have to keep putting a laptop on and force it to regen, and then carrying on for a little bit, and then it goes into limp mode again. I just hate AdBlue stuff. The conditions have been perfect, so I've had to get spreading fertiliser today, and I didn't get a chance to go to Wrexham to help with the volunteers up there, but I think they needed 300 and they had 200. They need some more tomorrow in Chester at another warehouse there to try and sort that out. They said that the BBC had been there filming today, and they wanted to speak to some of the volunteers that were from the Ukraine. Anyway, they was talking to a Ukrainian lady and asked her how it was out there, and unfortunately she'd lost her family this morning because of the conflict. I mean, it's just horrendous. So they had a minute's silence in the warehouse with over 200 people, but the situation just doesn't seem to be getting any better. So if anyone can help, the aid is sort of come. It's there. Just needs moving and processing, but it's volunteers to sort of pack it and prepare it so they make sure that it can get to the best places. So if anyone can help in Chester tomorrow, you know, watch sort of my social media and you can find out where you need to be later on today. Yesterday, a bottle of shampoo got spilt as we were unloading the aid, so the shed still smells of coconut. Anyway, I was talking to David last night, David Bennett, but we were talking about the guy, the F1 guy that was sponsored by his dad's fertilizer factory, which is Russian. Anyway, they banned him from F1 as a bit of a sanction to not encourage anything coming out of Russia, sort of propaganda and stuff like that. But this is the interesting thing. What we were saying is, how long has this war been going on? Did it really start sort of 2 Thursdays ago? Or did it start a few years ago when the Russians made Europe dependent on oil and then realised that they could squeeze us? Or when the fertiliser giants swallowed each other up and then suddenly they're in charge of the energy and the energy that we need to grow food? We've let ourselves get in a very, very vulnerable position over the last sort of 30 years probably. So when did the war start? When did Putin's strategy start? What do you think? Did it start last Thursday? Did it start during lockdown when he had time to think about what we can do, and were we all vulnerable then? Or did it start a long time ago? And have government sleepwalk into us not having any sort of food stability or energy stability? We saw how broken food chains are last 2 years ago with COVID, when the shops were suddenly empty. You know, we had broken fuel supply chains, 3-4 months ago. You know, what do you think? What's going on? Is it been have we been hoodwinked into a big war for a long time, or is it just someone just lost his mind sort of a few weeks ago and then decided to invade the other Thursday? Let me know what you think below anyway. Just better mention as well, apparently the Russians bought a fertilizer plant in Brazil about 2 weeks before they invaded, and Brazil gets most of its fertilizer either from Russia or through the fertilizer plant in Brazil that the Russians now own, and it's a crucial time for them because they're planting maize. So, you know, make of that what you want, but just leave a comment and see what you think anyway. Lots of people seem to enjoy me looking around Brian School. Let me just mention, I forgot to say at the time, it's a state school, so it's actually free to go. If you live in the local area, you can enrol your children, and well, if the boys, and go to that school. And if you live out of the area, you could board then, but you do have to pay. So they were raising money when I was there for paying for bursaries for children that have to travel quite a distance to get there, that the parents perhaps couldn't afford to pay for their boarding. I think the boarding was around £10,000 a year. Sounds a lot, but they get fed for that. So I don't know, but I think it was really good that the children, at least if they're in that area, they get the opportunity to go. And I just wish there was more schools like that. And if I could afford, I would open one. So yeah, that's Brymore School on Friday that I went to. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Bit of a random Sunday. At least I got some field work done. Really pleased with some crops, a bit disappointed in others. The ones I did today were the disappointing ones because I wanted to see in my own eyes whether we needed to scrap them and start again or just feed them a bit harder. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.